Guys, Mike's alive.
Be very careful. No more talking about the violent overthrow of the United States government. And get in trouble.
I just came from that.
That's right. You were headlining, weren't you? Headlining at the overthrow of the...
Oh, yeah.
Disguised.
Can we talk about Mac, too? Can I plug that?
What? Oh, yeah, Mac.
Yeah.
We'll talk about anything you want. I haven't got a lot on the agenda. Try to get going.
Because I thought it was like an evening slot, but they moved me to like an late afternoon.
There is no evening spot at Max.
No. To Pork Fest.
Well, why don't we talk about this when it's the right time? Okay.
That's right.
Quit ruining our talk.
I just was letting you know there's a merge between the topics. That's why. What is happening?
You gonna point at me when you want me to talk?
This is Penn Sunday School, and to our listening ears, all nature sings, and around us rings of the music of the spheres. So come on and listen to Penn's Sunday School. He's preaching love.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn Sunday School, starring Penn Gillette. My name is Mike Leno. Matt Donnelly, Penn and I are broadcasting from Show Creator Studios in Las Vegas. This week, Penn tells us about the time he met Coco the Gorilla. And not only did Penn and Teller appear on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon this week, they signed for 4 more years at a Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino.
How exciting.
He's preaching love.
Here he is, Mr. Penn Gillette.
Thrilled.
Yeah.
How much? I think people need to know that Reddy Rich did that live.
Yeah.
I don't mean all the parts.
And without permission or heads up.
Or rehearsal, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of that. He just said, yeah, listen, it's going to be different.
It's going to be different. He said it'll be pretty much the same, but you'll have to fill in the same places. You've been working on that a long time, haven't you, Reddy?
I timed it out.
It was perfect.
Yeah,
It was perfect.
Wow.
You did it in one take.
Yep, perfect.
Also, the band did it in one take.
Who's the band?
That was Commander Cody's band. The guy that did Smoke that cigarette.
It also did.
We're just as confused as possible, that's all.
Yeah, it did Hot Rod Lincoln.
Yeah.
That said, something's going to drive me to drink. If you don't start driving that Hot Rod Lincoln. Here's a story I'm here to say. The story is true, I'm here to say, because I was driving that Model A. Got a leaking motor, it's really souped up. That Model A body, make it look like a pump. Got 8 cylinders and use them all. Got overdrive. Just don't stall. Dunk, 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 dunk. Now, how did you...
Now, there it is, everybody. The most expensive Penn Sunday School ever.
How did you end up blowing Commander Cody?
I did a show with him Thursday night and recorded the show for him, and they returned the favor.
By playing it for you?
Yeah. That was the first take.
Yeah.
That's
You
great.
did it on
They
stage?
actually recorded. I thought he took some track and just amazing.
They do the vocals at all?
No, I did all the vocals.
You did all the vocals.
You
do
could tell
those
because they're
later?
flat.
They're flat.
Yeah.
Did you do them live there with them, the vocals, or later?
No, I did the one here, and I did the background track at home last night.
Huh? You did the live.
Wait, the background tracks are you?
Yeah.
I am blown away right now. This is the most production value the show has ever had.
I know. It's amazing.
And we can't stop talking about it.
I guess better, more professional people would just be like, "That's what we do."
That's right.
That's not what we do.
Wow. Stop the show.
It's nothing like anything we know how to do. And yet we just did it.
And I liked his vocals, both his background and his vocals.
I liked that it was an Elvis impersonation, or I should say, it was a homage to Elvis, and yet still had a lot of Reddy Rich in it.
Yeah.
I feel like we're on the American Idol or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the confluence of Reddy Rich and Elvis.
America, if you want to hear Reddy, you gotta vote. You gotta vote, guys.
Hit the button, Matt.
If you want to hear,
Hit the button. I get to come back next week.
I'm giving him a golden ticket.
golden buzzer.
Golden buzzer.
Yeah, which is a ripoff of.
This is what troubles me. He has a piece of paper in his hand, which means we're not done.
Yeah. I have to give the guys credit.
Please.
Yeah, on drums, Steve Barbuto.
Steve Barbuto on drums.
On bass, Tim Eschleman.
Eschleman? What the hell kind of name is that?
I think it's German.
Tim, you have a stupid name. Go ahead.
and Sean Allen on guitar.
Sean Allen on guitar.
Good American
Thanks, guys.
name. Sean Allen, we got that.
Where was Commander Cody?
Boulder Station.
No, why wasn't he there cheering him on?
There's no piano part in that song.
Okay. So you just want a rhythm section.
Yeah.
Only Ready Rich would send Commander Cody home. You're not needed, but thank you.
Now, what is Commander Cody like?
He's good.
Was it a good show?
It's a good show. We've had him a couple times.
And Hot Rod Lincoln was his encore?
Opener and closer?
I don't remember what his encore was this time.
Wow.
I was too focused on getting the Eschliman correct.
Now, is this backup band like his band, or is it like one of those things where they pass matchbooks around and they just know how to do it all?
I didn't understand the question.
What's it?
Is this the backup band
traveling
he
with
always
him?
works with? Or
Yes.
is this the pickup
Okay.
band?
They're on the bus with it.
You know,
I think the drummer's been with him for like 30 years.
I thought you would know for sure what the matchbook system was.
Yeah, I know what the matchbook system is, but I didn't understand the application.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Matchbook system, those you don't know, it is a notation system in Nashville that the Cats use that allows you to write any song out on the inside of a matchbook.
Yeah.
It's essentially it does not rely on key. It relies on the changes in terms of where they are, like 1, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Which is that song?
1, 4, 5.
I thought I was making an accurate reference, and then when he didn't get it, I got very scared and was like,
Completely
I should have never have talked.
You were completely right. But we are totally
Still out of line.
discombobulated.
The reason I was confused was because they don't do that song, so we did do a matchbook,
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
but it's also his regular band.
Yeah. And it's 4 pieces with him.
Yes.
He does all the vocals.
Bass player does a couple songs, guitar player does a couple songs.
Now, do they do all Commander Cody songs? They do a lot of covers.
Well,
I mean, both of those are
both
covers.
those hits are covers, yeah. And most of the rest are his.
Ah.
I think there's 2 more that are in that genre.
It's
that are also
sad when you
covers.
have all your hits with covers, I suppose, in some way.
Well,
Although that's-
royalty-wise, yeah.
Elvis had all his hits with covers, so
Yeah.
maybe not.
Maybe if you have 1,000 hits, it's okay if they're covers. If you have 2, you wish they were your
That's
own.
only the post Dylan world when the singer-songwriter came in and when Dylan screwed up everything.
Yes.
As Tim Panally, a guy on Tim Panally that knew Mike Jones once said, in 1963 the amateurs came in and ruined everything.
Like Sinatra with big bands.
Yeah. You had all the. Did you watch you watched the Paul McCartney carpool karaoke?
Yes.
Boy, it was nice. I like it.
I've seen some people crap on it.
About what? What do they say about it?
The insincerity of it, that it was all whatever.
Oh, it's a promo for his new album.
Well, yes.
Of course it is. He's
Yes.
on. Why would he be on TV?
If Paul McCartney's coming on and he says, we're going to sing a lot of Beatles songs, you say, and why don't you do a new one too? Because, I mean, put yourself in Paul's position, which is playing left-handed with your legs together. Paul only gets to talk about songs he wrote 50 years ago.
Yeah.
That's all he gets to talk
Yep.
about.
Yeah.
So he wants, and the new songs are fine.
Yeah.
And I also love that James did the work
Yep.
to actually really know
He knew the
new
lyrics of
songs
all of
as well
them.
as he knew the old ones.
Yeah.
He did his work.
And for the people who are I guess just pessimistic people, just people who just want to crap on
Cynics?
things.
Yeah.
Cynics is the word I was looking for. What more do you want out of a late night talk show clip? You know what I mean? Like, that's the genre we're working with. You know, it wasn't like, here, ladies and gentlemen, finally the heartfelt documentary about Paul McCartney is out on HBO.
Yeah, it's also it's not going up against Apocalypse Now.
No. I mean, for a show that airs at 12:30 at night,
Yeah.
to do a really great 20-minute hunk with Paul McCartney is insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
There's one really odd moment
Yeah.
when Paul goes into the barber shop
Yes.
and he walks out of the barber shop and the people are going crazy on the street.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, that certainly wasn't the reaction last time I walked down here. And he makes very clear he has not been to Penny Lane
Yeah.
since he was 17,
Right.
Yeah.
which is very odd.
Yes.
He has not been to Penny Lane for 60 years,
Yes.
and he decides to go back with James.
That's what I thought was crazy, is that he was doing these firsts
Yeah.
with James Corden. You
Back to
know,
his childhood home.
like,
Yeah.
like in other words, if I work for James Corden, 'cause this is all I was empathizing with was that aspect.
Yeah.
From James Corden's perspective, he said yes, you know, and then all right, let's write down a dream list of things we want to do with him.
Yeah.
And it was yes.
Want to drive down Penny Lane? What did Paul say no to?
I know, that's what I mean.
We want to actually double team lovely Rita the maid together in nude. Paul went, I don't know.
Like, I'm gonna sing a Hey Jude, but will you come up and sing it with me? I was like, what? What?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know what he said no to.
Even if you woke up from a dream, you'd be like, come on.
We're going to stop. We're going to stop right in the middle of this, and we're going to go out and have a cheeseburger. Paul, no, I'm vegan. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck you.
Fuck you. Fine, I guess we'll just go to your first apartment.
He even sings, woke up, get out of bed.
Yes.
And, I don't know. And he must have given him, oh, wow, it's just amazing.
And also, like, all right, I thank you for saying yes to Penny Lane. Thank you for saying yes to going to your first apartment. We have a really weird idea. We're just going to make you a jukebox in a bar.
Okay, I'd love to do that.
Sure, yeah, that sounds funny. Yeah, I'll do that.
Sounds good. I'd love to do that.
I was like, the
Sounds
pitch
really
on that
good.
was, I mean, they just did everything.
Yeah.
And they played, and I like that they stayed. They departed to make lovely gestures, and also went back and did the comedic bits for the segment that they normally do, like where he did
Right,
changing
changing all the clothes,
costumes.
yeah,
and
sure.
Oh, they
shit
do
like
those
that.
usually?
They usually do some kind of comedic bit because he's been doing carpool karaoke for so long that they've been elevating the bits or whatever. But that he had then after they had two beautiful heartfelt moments, they did a
Went out
rapid
and
fire
had a
comedic
Sergeant Pepper
I didn't think we needed
uniform.
that.
bit. Yeah.
I don't think we needed the Sergeant Pepper's uniform.
Yeah.
But it's a very small complaint. I also like the fact that I would like to have been, because we've all done reality shows.
Yes.
I would like to have known exactly how those people were in that pub.
Yes.
Because the big curtain's set up.
Yeah.
And
You're supposed to be
There
pretending like
was
you
a
don't see
little
a giant
overacting
curtain.
in the pub. I just want to say there was
Right,
a couple
but then
of people.
they play Hey Jude and everyone's crying, and that's what I was saying, is that like even if you are the most skeptical person,
Yeah.
you could prep me. You could tell me a week from now, Matt, you're going to go to a pub that's rigged for Paul McCartney to open up a curtain, and then I wouldn't have think they're going to do Hey Jude on air because they don't do that song
Right.
on television.
Right.
So like even if I knew and I was paid and I was prepped and I'm whatever, and even if I'm
Do you think
the fan
there's-
that I am,
Do you think there's any chance? I think there is a chance. I'm going to give my opinion out there. I think there is a chance
yeah.
that he played what the woman selected on the jukebox.
Oh, okay.
I think there's a chance of that.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance she went up and said, I'd like to hear this. And they told Paul backstage, he said, fine. 'Cause Paul has all those ready to go.
Exactly. And I think for him, he'd almost rather be challenged in that way, right?
Yeah, challenged with, one of the same songs he's been playing for 50 years.
Right, but it's still better than like James Corden going like, what do you want to play for the segment? Mm-hmm. Like he doesn't want to answer that question.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like just to ask them.
I also like that he, and that's when I saw Paul live.
Yeah.
He also did this. He sings John's lead parts, just acting like I'm John. I was always the one who sang lead, and sings them sounding just like John.
Yeah.
So one of the things that Paul McCartney is now is Paul McCartney is a John Lennon tribute band. Because he said, what was the first one he said? Not Help. Was it Help? Oh, no.
I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. But the first one he sang was a John lead vocal.
Yeah.
Love Me Do.
Yeah.
And he, love me do. And he's singing the lead part. And okay.
Yeah.
But I guess if Teller gets shot, please. If Teller gets shot and I'm going out, I would go like, okay, now I'll do the Needles. Hit a guy up with the apple, and now we're gonna do Shadows. They go, oh yeah, that's a Penn and Teller bit. I'd forgotten that Penn
Now
was on
that's
stage.
all we do is want to see that.
Teller getting shot.
No.
I was with you.
Would you two ever switch places? Would you ever do each other's stuff?
There is a story that
Yeah.
was told in an HBO documentary.
Yeah.
So it's true. where I love this story so much. You know, the Marx Brothers.
Yeah.
The Marx Brothers look identical.
Right.
If you've ever seen them out of makeup,
Okay.
they're they look very much like siblings. Mm-hmm. They're the same height. They're the same build. And then Harpo had the big red wig.
Yeah.
And Chico had the little beanie. And Groucho had the big painted-on mustache, right?
Yeah.
So apparently, the story goes that Chico brought his daughter on tour with them for a week. Now, when they were on tour, I think it was with like Animal Crackers or something.
Yeah.
They were doing 12 show weeks. Yeah, they were doing 2 or 3 shows a day of Animal Crackers. And Chico expected his daughter to come to every show. We were taking on the road, will this be great? And Chico's daughter, who was at the time a teenager, decided for one of the matinees to sneak off and go shopping. She snuck off and went shopping and then came backstage when the show was over, when they came off stage. And Harpo and Chico came off stage laughing hysterically and out of their minds, screaming, laughing, doubled over, squealing. And as she came off, they both hugged her, and she realized they were in opposite outfits. And they had done all of Animal Crackers. Chico was Harpo and Harpo was Chico. They'd done the whole bit. Nobody knew it, and they wanted to tell her how great was that.
Oh, no.
And she hadn't seen it. So, when we have had health problems, especially my voice,
Yeah.
Everybody suggests switching roles. And good evening. My name is. Oh God! My name is Teller. This is my partner Penn. We are Penn and Teller. That's where the show would be done by Teller. What we're gonna do?
Longer show.
And then, in all fairness, how good are you at needles?
Really good. Fucker, really good. So good you wouldn't believe it. It's like when they asked Paul Simon about Bridge Over Troubled Waters.
Yeah.
He always says something, or he did in a few interviews, say something kind of odd and uncalled for, like, I could have sang that. And of course he does. He does.
Right, exactly, yeah. Now, you've been learning a lot of solo magic stuff. Was it ever on the table that you would just do a solo magic show while this was happening?
It wasn't on the table. I don't have enough material.
Yeah.
And,
If only you had friends.
I don't think people would want to come see me anyway.
You don't think it was a solo act?
I don't think people would want to come see Penn at the.
What if you charge half price? That's fair.
Well, it'd be 2/3. If we want to talk about fair.
Yeah.
That'd be fair to everybody. So we signed, we've been 16 years. Today
Yeah.
is 16 years.
At the Rio.
We've been full-time.
Fantastic.
We were like 2 or 3 years before that, maybe 4, before that, part-time.
Was it when you were in the Hollywood showroom or whatever it was called?
But we were always here.
Yeah.
But I mean at the Rio.
Oh, at the Rio, you got it.
Before that, we've been 25 years in Vegas.
Okay.
But we were full-time for a while at the MGM.
Uh-huh.
And we didn't know that we could fill up, Copperfield took over that room, and it turns out we could fill up a room that's twice as big. This was good. We didn't know that.
Yeah.
We didn't know that.
Yeah.
Copperfield did. I'll take the room that's half the size. Good.
He makes up by doing twice as many shows, though.
3
At least
times.
3 times as many.
3 times
yeah.
as many shows. He does. Copperfield has no trouble selling tickets.
No.
No tears shed for Copperfield's success. He does wonderful. Most successful magician of, I think, last century and this century.
Combined.
2 centuries combined. He's
Yeah.
most successful. So they gave him, for some inexplicable reason, at the
A creepy poster on the side of the MGM.
yeah, they gave him that, but they also gave him at the Magical Arts Awards.
Ah, yeah.
They gave him Magician of the Decade,
Wow.
and I immediately got on the blower. Called Erica Larson and said that next year I insisted I wanted to be Magician of the Fortnight. They'd already done century
Yeah.
for like last century.
Yeah.
And for this century, they thought it was a bit too early. So they got to.
They do not know how promo stuff works at all, do they?
I don't. So I just
And
thought,
now Magician of the Week.
if Copperfield is magician of the century,
Yeah.
I should be magician of the fortnight, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah.
I think a fortnight.
I actually like of the
that
hour.
makes me okay. If I'm magician of the fortnight and Copperfield's magician of the century, what percentage of good magician am I to Copperfield? How many fortnights in a decade? Well, there's 25 fortnights. I changed it from decade to century.
26.
26
26.
times 10,
10.
260 makes me makes me about 0.5% the magician that Copperfield is. Yes, I am.
That's for 10 years.
Now,
That's not for a century. That's for 10 years.
That's
Well,
right.
they did decade, though.
now work out Black History Month. It's February.
Right, I know. I don't know. February is the best month to have, though, because February really is 4 weeks.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
Right.
Although February fucks it up by changing every 4 years. But
Yeah.
you know, my friend Running Elk his birthday is leap year.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I have a friend who's a.
Does he do the I'm 7 years old thing?
He does. I guess that gets
What
old.
choice do you have? What choice do you have?
Yeah.
And also, he has
a gag foist upon you.
Because if he doesn't do the bit, and you go, "Do you do the bit?" and he's like, "No, I'm an adult. I know how old I am." You're not gonna like him more.
You know what I love about my friend born on leap year? He doesn't do that leap year shit.
Yeah, with not one joke.
Not one joke.
If you
And
do
a joke, he doesn't talk to you anymore.
He'll throw you through a window. I love him.
How old are you? I'm 42, asshole. No, but you're born on leap year. Yeah, and I'm 42 years old. That's many years I've been alive, you dick. No, but I mean, don't you count every 4 years? Aren't you real?
Smash.
You're like really not even 12 yet, right? Don't.
Don't.
Yeah.
He's heard it all. He's heard it all.
Don't do it. Shh, 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 shh. Ask him about his tie. What's special about his tie? It's not leap year. So you're back from Pork Fest?
I did. I came back from Pork Fest, the Free Staters
Porcupine.
out there. Porcupine Festival.
Yeah.
It's not a bacon festival. Short for Porcupine. And it's a bunch of libertarian Free Staters up in New Hampshire having a little festival out there.
How many?
Well, I left on before the last night of events was happening, and I was told the population doubles for the last night, that everyone comes in for the big party that I exited for.
What they really meant was everybody comes in after you're done.
Yeah, they're like, Matt's leaving? Woo! But I would say there's, 200 or 300 people there.
Oh, that's the whole party, 200 people.
Yeah, yeah.
And they all look exactly like I imagine them to look.
Well, coming in.
Yeah.
And I was reminded of actually like the episode of Bullshit, where you guys followed around the people who thought the Area 51 was housing aliens.
Yeah.
And then by the end, it's just like, you know what? We all love sitting around a camper.
It's a camping trip.
It's a camping trip.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this is. It's everybody's vacation. It's everybody's vacation. They're just having a good time. And all you do is run into nice people, enjoying whatever drink and hanging out
Right.
and having some food and doing it. So I was like, it was the nicest. It's just a fantastic group of people. It was you would not know if you didn't read the signs or
Makes
whatever.
no
you wouldn't know.
difference if they're Trekkies
Yes.
or
Yeah.
jugglers or
No.
UFO people or Mormons.
Yeah, it's just an excuse for people to get together, and then they shoot the shit, and they're speaking with like-minded people, so they are shooting the shit about these topics, but they're just with ease. It's the first time they're talking. It's a vacation for them. Like normally they're usually just pissing people off, I guess, with their conversation, and now they get to sit down with people and not piss people off.
Taxation is theft. It sure is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This burger's great.
So I have a joke in the Hillbill show, where I say like, you're going to send a message to me, and I'm going to try to draw it. Now I'm going to hand you this notebook with words to inspire you, because you'd be surprised how typical people are when they try to think of an image. They'll think of a house or a boat or ATF agents closing in on your secret still while you hide in a tree and hold a gun. Wondering, this is the first time you're going to defend yourself against the government. Typical stuff. That's the joke.
But is that the joke you use all the time?
All the time.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I thought, boy, you really worked that out.
No.
But that's the joke, right?
That's the joke I use all the time.
Oh, because in Hillbill's character.
Because it's in Hillbill's character to have a secret still,
Right.
to have a secret yet. And so I made that joke, and everyone laughed, and I said, I swear to God, I use that in every show, and this is the first time it's been appropriate to say. And I got like the biggest reaction. Everybody there. Now, they might not be thrilled by me sharing this part. Okay, so on Thursday night, the second night I was there, while I was asleep.
Don't ruin this so I don't get to go back next year.
No. Exactly. No, they all were asking. We're asking for both of you, but yeah, I did a whole lecture of what it's like to work with Penn. I did have that lecture, that Q&A.
I wanted to talk about that in terms.
Yeah. So I'll finish. So apparently, it's free stater, so there's no rules. So they build a fire, and the fire goes till whenever people want to go to bed, and then someone puts the fire out. Well, someone was a little into their cups or a little into something else, and thought that they could do a backflip over the fire at 3:00 in the morning.
A backflip over the fire.
Yes, and they were wrong. And so an ambulance had to come out to the fire at 3
Person
o'clock
just
in the morning.
jumped on their back into a fire.
Yes.
Landed on their head in the fire.
The haunting description was he walked away.
Oh, you weren't there.
I wasn't there. I was asleep.
Oh, damn it.
I was asleep. And the haunting description was he walked away and everyone saw that his shirt was on fire, and then they realized he wasn't wearing a shirt.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's awful.
That's how much hair he had on his body. Had.
Yeah, exactly. He is now okay. He is okay. But I said,
And he's been disabused of his ability to do a backflip over a fire.
I believe so. And I said,
You're going to practice up for next year. I'm staying up when I go.
I don't know if
I'm not going to bed.
I don't know if anyone can do a backflip over a fire.
I don't think traveling while doing a backflip, those
Really
things
hard.
don't happen. You take off and land within 3 inches of the spot. And if you don't,
As a matter
you're
of fact,
dead.
if you don't take off and land, you haven't been successful.
exactly. Yeah.
I don't think there's a front flip you might be able
You could run at it and do a front flip over the fire.
This guy, underestimates the power of
For
a
all I care.
trampoline. I just thought he could just do it, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
But I said on my show, I said, you guys, you free staters aren't messing around. I'm the second person to think they were magic here at this festival. And I said, not only did you lose a guy in a fire last night, but damn if that fire isn't already rebuilt and burning brightly right there behind our shed. And there's not been one sign put up. There's been no safety meetings. No one's been warned about the fire. You guys just rebuilt the motherfucker and said Darwinism rules again.
But the guy is fine.
He's fine.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, he will be fine. Yeah, he has first and second degree burns. Nothing to.
It reminds me a little bit of when the Ramones played the Walnut Street Theater in Philadelphia. We were playing Theater 5 up on the 5th floor, and they were afraid that they'd booked the Ramones. They were afraid that their beautiful theater, Walnut Street Theater, beautiful theater, was going to be in trouble. They would be rowdy with it. So they asked me, who was a Ramones fan and knew the Ramones a little bit, to go down and be there during load-in and just report if it was terrible, which of course was nothing. They were all fine. But I watched a roadie in freezing Philly on a U-Haul truck full of equipment fall directly onto the cement, frozen cement, off about 3 feet up, right down in his side. And he got up and said, "Oh, man, if I weren't this fucked up, that would have really hurt." So let's hope.
Yes, there's hope. There's hope. There's hope.
Backflip guy.
Yeah. But,
he still doesn't know he's been hurt.
Yeah. But there's all kinds of different currencies out there. I tried to sit in a lecture. This is where I'm the worst reporter ever. So I sat in a lecture of people debating Bitcoin Cash versus Bitcoin Core.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And I couldn't even figure out what side was arguing for which side. I literally was clarifying to a guy who was hanging out, like a volunteer, and I was like, so is that guy saying that he's for that or against that?
You mean while he was making his point,
Yeah.
you couldn't tell what his point was?
No. Because I couldn't understand the argument. I didn't understand the very basics of what core versus cash meant.
Well, I want to get to all of this, but
Mm-hmm.
first I'm going to tell you a little bit about Stamps.com.
Yeah.
Because I like them so much.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very fond of Stamps.com. U.S. Postal Service is an important tool for any business. You wouldn't have Scoops at all without U.S. Postal Service.
100%.
Stamps.com is the easiest way to access all the amazing services of the post office. Stamps.com never closes. Print postage for letters or packages at your convenience 24/7. I guess there's 365 in there, too.
Yes.
Yeah. Print postage for any mail
How
class.
many fortnights is that?
Well, 26.
Oh, okay.
A year. Or 260 a decade. Print postage for any mail class right from your own computer. The exact amount of postage every time. Never underpay or overpay again. Stamps.com saves you time and money, which you can use to grow your business. Convenient, easy, reliable. How efficient. How much can we say good about Stamps.com? It's a perfect company.
If you haven't used, I'm just telling you, it's better than you think.
It's better than you think.
Yeah, because
How many things is that true of?
Yeah, really.
Better than you think.
it's one of those things where like you've heard these ads maybe from here and other places, but like when you really get it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is great.
If everything worked like this, we wouldn't have to do work.
They'll send you a digital scale, automatically calculates exact postage. Stamps.com will even help you decide the best class of mail based on your needs. No need to lease an expensive postage meter and no long-term commitments.
Oh,
You like that?
man,
I
they
used
know
to-
their audience.
We use Stamps.com for everything. If you buy something from Penn and Teller, if you send in for an autographed picture, anything goes out with Stamps.com. The long-suffering Laura, and right now, you too. You too can enjoy Stamps.com service with a special office that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in
Penn.
That's Stamps.com. Enter.
Penn.
Elvis is still in the building.
Nice. So wait, if you're 2,600th of Copperfield, then
Yeah.
okay. So that's what the number is. So I think you're
Magician of the century
4/10,000th of a percent of Copperfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think that's
Am I
about
saying
right.
that right?
Yeah, that seems close. Reddy's checking the math.
I'm rounding up the eighth. There.
4/100ths.
4/100th of a percent of Copperfield.
Yeah, that's what I should be.
And that's worth half price ticket at Penn and Teller.
Two-thirds. Now, you know, I have heard a lot of bad stories about Paul McCartney.
Oh yeah.
A lot of bad stories about Paul McCartney. People disliking him and so on. But you've told me, okay, now if I'm 1/400th of a percent of Copperfield,
Yeah.
I am. We get into the billions, right?
Yeah.
Paul McCartney.
Certainly.
But you've said when people ask you about me,
Yes. Yeah.
that they want bad stories.
Absolutely. Any celebrity. And I talked to other friends, too, because a lot of we're all friends, you know, coming from the comedy community. I still have very close friends, and we're all super close friends with people who've really made it big. And I always say that people don't want to know if your celebrity friend is an asshole. They want to know that your celebrity friend is an asshole.
So
Yeah.
Amy Schumer, who you know.
Yes.
Now, you when people ask you about her,
Right.
you've got nothing but good stories, right?
I mean, I mean, my friend is the showrunner for her show. They were very successful. He made, you know, he put a lot of, she created a lot of jobs, including he had a great run with her, and yeah.
You got nothing but good about her.
Yeah.
I mean, you were friends with her for years, right?
No, I only met her, but my.
Oh, yeah. You're friends with her, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very close friends with the showrunner for the Amy Schumer show.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, Steve Martin.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a bad story about Steve Martin.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Always polite, always kind to everyone.
Yeah.
And yet you'll hear people. I remember someone trying to tell a story of Steve Martin being an asshole.
Yeah.
They were trying to. And the story they had was he'd offer them a cup of coffee over their house. When they put it down on the table, he put a coaster under it, and it made them a little uncomfortable.
Well, could you imagine? So just imagine you amongst mixed company, right? And you go, you know, I remember Copperfield, and if you say that, and you tell a story about like took care of this orphan. Could you imagine the glazing over that you'll see
don't
in
care
front
at
of you? They don't care at all. They don't want to know a good story.
So what my point is,
Yeah.
I mean, I've met Ringo.
Yeah,
I've not met Paul McCartney.
right.
But I can imagine that
Yeah.
you would have to sift through every single good thing he's done
Yeah,
to pull out he's a Beatle.
yeah.
You got to have bad stories about a Beatle, right?
Right.
So I think I'm now, the negative bias on celebrity
Yeah,
is so overwhelming.
yeah.
I wonder if that's a universal thing or if that's an American thing. I wonder if we just want to bring our idols down to size.
I'm curious.
I feel it myself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you bring up Elvis, I want to talk about him being on drugs. You bring up,
Yeah.
I always want to have something on that. And I'm starting to feel sick about it. Seems wrong.
Yeah, I think we want to know that Elvis is human, right? And so we want to hear those stories, but also like, when you're telling those like the great Peter Wolf story, when you tell that story, you don't want to take away the fact that like, he accomplished an unbelievable career.
You mean the Peter Wolf Elvis story?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
Because also the story gets told of maybe the worst day he had.
Oh, exactly.
And it's always told as though this is the way he's living.
Yeah, as if every day he just brought people into his house and waved his gun around.
And, what's his name? Joe Walsh.
Yeah.
Joe Walsh had the most direct thing. I really love this.
Yeah.
But Joe Walsh, we're backstage, and Glenn says, I was on an airplane with you once. And Joe Walsh goes, was I nice to you? And Glenn goes, yeah. And he goes, oh, good.
Yeah.
Just really sincere relief.
That's actually what I thought the James Corden clip caught well. I thought McCartney was he wasn't overly humble,
Right?
but he wasn't like blowing people off either. He was enjoying the fandom and he was enjoying the day.
It was really nice
because he was honest when he's like, I wanted to clock out. I was like, I don't want people to come in. It's like, not that I loved what we were doing. I just wanted a rest from that, and my dad would invite people in. That story was great, and it wasn't. I thought it was like so. It was said so well, and his body language and everything was so like, no. I loved being famous. I just wanted to go to bed. It was very honest.
I'm very uncomfortable with this next question for a zillion reasons. But I feel I also want to know.
Yeah.
You talked about working with me in front of 200
meeting.
people, 0.5% of which try to do a backflip over a fire.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, there's a lot of different versions of why aren't you there? And will you go there?
Uh-huh.
And basically, like, am I like just like a lab rat that's testing out the run before we let you in? This crowd obviously is a crowd that misses bullshit.
But also, this is a crowd that should be able to understand in strict capitalism terms why I would choose doing a show in Vegas and Jimmy Fallon over 200 people at a campfire in New Hampshire. They can understand that.
They do understand that.
Nothing to do with my heart.
Yeah.
Only my pocketbook.
That's right. That's right.
If I go, I'm promising that you're coming the next year. I might say you're going to show up at my show.
We're slowly
A
building.
lot of tickets.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted to know that. One question was, so much of entertainment is liberal and liberal bias. Has Penn lost work for being outspoken libertarian and an atheist?
Well, I do have one story about that.
Yeah.
Yes is the answer.
That's the answer I gave.
I know I have. I have. But one time was pretty great. There was a show on television called Murphy Brown, right? A very successful television show. I never saw it. Very successful.
Edgar Bergen's daughter.
Yeah, Candace Bergen. And they wrote
Ventriloquist.
a part for me. Okay? Mm-hmm. And it was this is very confusing. They wrote a part for Howard Stern. It was about Howard Stern. It was about a shock jock who goes out on a date with Candace Bergen.
Uh-huh.
And after they've had a nice night talking, he goes on the next morning and tells everything on the air. and she feels betrayed, and it ends up like that. So it was a script based on that. And they brought me in, not for an audition. They brought me in just to meet me. Okay? Now, here was the mistake. Here's the mistake, man. I was talking to Rob Pike, my dear friend Rob Pike, the night before. And Rob Pike was talking about accepting who you are. And Rob Pike said, for instance, speaking about himself, I'm an asshole. I say mean stuff just to be mean. I do that. I'm an asshole. And if you call me an asshole, I go, yes, I'm an asshole. And Rob did this whole thing about that. And I thought, wow. And then and Rob said, but you're not an asshole. You don't say mean things. You're a nut. He said, you're a nut. You're someone whose opinions cannot be trusted, whose facts cannot be trusted, and whose actions from moment to moment cannot be predicted or trusted. You're a nut. And we had this long talk all night and had a wonderful time. And I woke up the next morning going, I'm a nut.
Oh, man.
La, la, la.
Then,
Thinking out loud.
just thinking out loud. So I nuttivated over to the Murphy Brown place. And I knew at some level that the producers of Murphy Brown, the creators, had given more money to the Clinton campaign than anybody else. This is Bill Clinton. I knew they were big supporters.
Yeah.
And it was around the time, I think, of Monica Lewinsky. And I went in and thought, well, you know, they're hiring me to be a stern kind of guy, so I'll just...
Stern it up.
I'll stir it up. So I went in and did about 10 minutes on hating Bill Clinton.
The perfect storm gathering of ideas.
And carried on and carried on and carried on and carried on and talked. And I thought I was really funny.
I'm killing here.
I thought it was really funny. And I also pushed it a little bit toward shock jock. I said things that were not, really L.A. writer's room style things to say.
Right.
And I thought I was getting really good laughs.
Yeah.
And I left the room and felt very, very good. Like, this is going to be really fun to do this. This will be a blast. And it was going to be a whole episode. I believe Murphy Brown was the #1 show at the time on television. It was huge. And I was going to be the whole episode. I mean, huge scenes of it were just me out to dinner with Candace Bergen.
Which in and of itself is a fine prize.
Right. And also big scenes of me doing radio.
Yeah.
I was in this show a lot. It wasn't like, oh, he's one of the Scorpion gang. There he is over there. This was kind of like, oh, Penn's doing scenes with Candace Bergen.
That's acting. That's acting right
We
there.
know for a fact this is definitely before Glen Alley.
Yeah. There was no one handling me.
Yeah. Might not have been a meeting had Glenn actually been in the show. Ben's pretty busy. He's at Pork Fest that weekend. So he'll just come in for the filming.
Exactly.
And they said, we don't think your personality will make Candace comfortable on the set.
Whoa.
Now, what made this more confusing is I had been out with Candace Bergen. I talked with her. We got along really well.
Yeah.
So it was clearly,
Yeah.
she had nothing to do with it.
No.
And they said, no, we don't have this part. And I responded, well, I thought it was written for me. And they said, yep. That's how much you can lose. And now I don't know. That's not really losing the part for my political beliefs.
No, it's not.
But then also you've got
I would have also have just told your Wall Street story if it was about you being a nut. Where you just came in like, I'm going to piss off Oliver Stone.
Yeah.
But you did get that part, actually, so I shouldn't...
I did get that part, but I was cut out of the movie.
Yeah.
But I got paid. Which for a guy who's going to do a backflip over a campfire is what matters.
Yeah.
So I lost that. And then I had, because we'd put aside the whole week for me to be able to do the show.
Yeah.
And so that afternoon, they'd asked me before to be on Lois and Clark. And I couldn't do it. And I called I called up Thanya, who was the creator of Lois and Clark, because they wanted me on the show. And I called up and said, Murphy Brown just fired me. I can do your show starting tomorrow. And then they went and hustled and rewrote the script so that I could be in the shooting
They
that
didn't
week.
just go, wait. What? You were going to be on their show and they fired you. And we offered, we got somebody. So sorry.
So I did Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
And loved every second of it. Greatest people I ever worked with. And I got to do the line, which of course is famous.
Yeah.
Superman, the others.
Right.
And I got to kiss Dean Cain on the lips.
Right.
So it was a very good experience.
Your personality made him very comfortable on
Very comfortable. And I think that the creators of Lois and Clark were not as concerned about Dean Cain's comfort as the Murphy Brown people were concerned about Candace Bergen's comfort. As a matter of fact, his comfort, seeing him hooked up on wires and stuff, did not even seem to be on the board as a consideration at all. He was just, a good-looking guy who was willing to do anything, and there was no complaint at all.
Yeah.
And then they came back to me, actually.
Superman or Candace Bergen?
Not Candace Bergen, Murphy Brown. Murphy Brown came back to me while I was doing Superman and said, we've rethought this. We'd like you to play the part. And I said, well, there's only 2 days and you shoot it in front of a live audience. And they said, we think you can do it that quickly. Would you come in and do it? And that's when the Lois and Clark people said, what are you doing on our set? He's working here. You're not pulling them away. And Candace, the Murphy Brown people said, this is a much bigger show. And they said, he's working for us. So it was a very wonderful feeling of 2 TV shows fighting over me.
Oh, that is nice.
And then I made this very grandiose statement where I said, you can't change your mind. You can't change your mind. You've thrown me away. You can't change your mind. I remember Buddhist monks lighting themselves on fire to protest the Vietnam War and then running to the fountain to put themselves out. That's where you are now. There's no dignity in that. You can't do that. I will not come in and save your show. And it was a big, big thing. And then afterwards, the people on Lois and Clark said, oh, wow, that was amazing how you wouldn't let them change their minds. You wouldn't go back and you stuck with us. And I went, you're not seeing the whole chessboard here. They hired another actor. There are really, really good actors in L.A., really good actors. They've rehearsed him for 2 days, and they can't get the jokes to work. I guarantee you whoever they got for this part is better than me. So they're going to bring me in at the last minute. I'm going to suck. And then every one of those people has their story about not wanting to use me, but using me, and they shouldn't have even bothered because I was terrible. That story's all laid out.
Yeah.
And there's no way I'm going to come in with 2 days rehearsal and be so good they're all happy about it.
Right.
And also, nobody there likes me. So I said, it has nothing to do with loyalty. It has nothing to do with plan the dive the plan.
Yeah.
It has to do with simply the logic of, I know that every single actor in LA is better than me. We know that one of these people better than me could not do the part well.
Yeah.
Therefore, I shouldn't try to do it. What am I going to be able to do that some actor couldn't do? What? I mean, is there anything that I do better than an actor? No, nothing.
The goat
Needles.
noise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the goat laugh. Yeah, you did it better than.
Was it in the script? If that were in the script, I would have taken it.
Yeah.
So the answer is, I probably lost Murphy Brown because of being a nut.
Yeah.
But what the Pork Fest people don't understand is that my libertarian views and my atheist views to people who aren't libertarian atheist are just a symptom of my mental illness. Okay? So if somebody sane were not allowed to have that part
Yeah.
because of these beliefs, they would have an argument.
Right.
But when a full-on whack job, they only see my beliefs as a symptom of
Right.
my craziness.
So who knows is the
Doesn't make
answer.
that point.
Jury's out, I guess.
There are probably a lot of gigs that you get because of the nut viewpoint.
Well, because of being a nut.
Yes.
It's my whole career.
Yeah.
Yeah. The nut is an
So
important
you
thing.
lost one and gained $1 million.
Yeah, and also I remember once, and I've told this story before, but it's so funny, and maybe not funny to anybody besides me because I know how true it is. I was sitting out on the set of Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher. I've told this before.
Yeah, yeah.
And just the two of us, and there's his seat, and there's 4 others, right? And I'm sitting in one of them. And we're chatting, not even about the show, not the news of the day. And I look over and I say, who else is on? And he names the people who are on. He names the 3 other people. And I go, it's like serious people,
Right.
senators and stuff. And I go, that's funny because usually when I watch the show, you have one nut here. And you usually have one person in the nut chair. And there was a really, really long, uncomfortable pause where Bill just looked at me. And I went, I'm in the nut chair. And Bill kind of looked like, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a moment of self-realization there. And we're going to talk more about Pork Fest, and also Godot had an accident as well. Did you know this?
Oh, no.
Not jumping over a fire, but
No.
something. We'll talk
Pretty
about
similar.
that on Wednesday because that was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School, and to our listening ears, all nature sang, and around us rang the music of the spheres. Thank you for listening to Penn's Sunday School. He's preaching love.
Oh yeah, cha-cha-cha. You become naked, but never as naked as Ready
He's
Rich.
preaching love. There's a part for you here.
Oh yeah?
Uh-huh.
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 Nice.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. He's preaching love.
Preaching love.
You know I love you. Ready?
Stand by for episode 2, everybody.
Wow, that was good.
Anybody need a pee?
I can make it through another one.
Wait, what?
Are you all set, Godot?
Pretty close.
I have lost my Reaper. Sorry, I got something weird going on with my deal here. Okay.
Oh, hold on. We're going standard. New advertiser for the Quip toothbrush. It's the first page is the copy. The second are just notes, basically.
Do you need to readjust your timing on it?
No,
Okay.
just give Penn a sec to look through this. We'll have there are some of these at the office, so we'll all get toothbrushes at some point.
Good. Okay.
This is Penn Sunday School.
Uh-huh.
And to our listening ears,
Uh-huh.
all nature sings and round us rings the music of the spheres. This is Penn Sunday School.
Brothers and sisters, welcome welcome to Penn Sunday School, starring Penn Jillette. My name is Michael Godot, and Matt Donnelly, Penn, and I are broadcasting from the Show Creator Studios in Las Vegas. This week, Penn tells us about the time he actually met Coco the gorilla, and this week, Penn and Teller appeared on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. 695 people have lost 32,742 pounds on our Cray Ray diet. Here he is, preaching love, Mr. Penn Jillette.
Yeah, preach and love, preach and love. So anything else on Pork Fest? About what we covered on Sunday was a guy thought he could do a backflip over a fire and couldn't.
No, he could not.
Right.
No, I mean, they just have a bunch of.
How long did you talk about working on the show here?
45 minutes
45
talking about it. It was also, the larger theme was using comedy when you advance a political agenda or something along those lines.
Did you say smart stuff?
I said like one smart thing, I think.
What'd you say smart?
I say that like when you challenge someone to a debate, the loser of the debate does not feel like they've changed their mind. They just feel like they lost and they should have won. Mm-hmm. In comedy, when you approach comedy and you start to joke around about stuff, sometimes people will laugh off stuff, and in there you start to kind of move the pawns of logic by laughing through stuff. And the key to delivering comedy is vulnerability. You have to be vulnerable when you deliver a comedy. And oftentimes people reciprocate that vulnerability when you're joking around about stuff. So I like comedy as a vessel to start discussing heavier stuff, because I feel like you're more likely to start to change each other's minds joking about it than you are maybe debating each other.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Or change your own mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
No.
there are a lot of I said, and I talked we talked about like there's a lot of cases where people don't play by those rules and comedy isn't accomplished. So I was even discussing, I said even if I agree with, say, like the SNL cold open with Alec Baldwin's Trump, sometimes I hate those opens because there's no vulnerability to them. You're assuming the audience agrees with you wholeheartedly, and then you're just kind of reenacting stuff from the headlines through a sarcastic filter, and that's not comedy. You're not saying anything. You're just reenacting.
We used to, on bullshit, we would really try hard. Remember, Godot, to try to get things that we didn't agree with on the show and that our audience wouldn't agree with.
Yeah.
We tried to be surprised a little bit once in a while, and of course we were very successful because Showtime itself didn't seem to agree with anything we said. I mean, we did a show on Feng Shui while the president of Showtime was using Feng Shui in the office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So those other chiropractors are bullshit. Mine is great.
Yeah, they would say that.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of that.
I bet.
So, Godot, what did you think you could do that you couldn't?
You know what? I cut myself horribly with a knife doing a juggling show this week in Santa Cruz.
Now, your knives are as sharp as this.
Yeah, as a coffee cup. Yeah, exactly as sharp as a coffee cup. And that's a perfect analogy. But they're heavy and they're metal. And the great part is, I'm cut myself really badly, and I wasn't even juggling them. I was pretending I was out of control on the unicycle and waving them around.
Oh, I see.
And just slammed one of them into my hand so hard that I was like cutting myself with a coffee cup. That's how hard I hit.
So you
Where?
I've get bandaged up today, and now I have to use different fingers on my touchpad.
Oh, I see.
because you didn't cut your fingers an understatement. You bluntly attacked.
Exactly. I hit him with a bludgeon.
You bluntly attacked your finger to the point of bleeding.
Yes.
That's different.
I'm bleeding a lot. And you probably haven't had this happen yet. I know you have, Penn. It is...
Yes, he has. Yes, he has.
I don't know why you're backing me off of this. I quite famously cut up on my finger my very first show.
Oh, that's right. Usually it takes someone years to get to this level of...
And if you look at the Hillbill
accident.
artwork, my artist Martin thinks it's hilarious, and I'm often wearing a bandaged finger in all of my artwork.
Yeah. The joy of trying to hide the fact that you're bleeding from the audience is a great... That's a great moment.
Yep.
Get home and take your costume off, and you've had your hand in your pocket for the whole show, so your leg and pocket is entirely full of blood.
I used to do this thing when I did the broken bottle juggling.
Yeah.
I break liquor bottles.
Yeah, see, that seems reasonable that you would be cut doing that.
Well, I get cut all the time.
Right.
Not this time was fabulous. I'd broken the bottle, and one of the whole points of the monologue is that
Yeah.
the bottles break unpredictably.
Yes.
So the bottle broke unpredictably, as it did every night. It was a known unknown, as
Right.
Dick Cheney would say.
Yeah.
And
Famous juggler.
or Rumsfeld. Who said that? It doesn't matter.
Rumsfeld.
Yeah, Rumsfeld.
Famous juggler.
So I broke this bottle, and the way it broke was, it was a clear bottle. Some of them, are brown or green. It's a
Yeah.
clear bottle. And it broke pretty even around the edge, and then it had one shard sticking up for the whole length of the bottle.
Wow. Like an antenna.
Antenna. Yeah. And I used to do this thing where I would talk about how dangerous the bit was. And I'd make a gesture in my throat going, like I was slitting my throat with the bottle. And I didn't see that part sticking up. So I went and cut my throat on stage.
That's pretty good.
What it looked like to the audience, it was a very deep scratch
Right.
Yeah.
right across my throat. But to the audience, it looked like I'd slit my throat on stage. And blood started pouring out and soaking.
Right.
Into
Right
the
into your
top of
shirt.
my
Oh,
shirt.
beautiful.
And I went, I just slit my throat on stage. I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. And the bottle was now covered with blood.
Yeah.
And I was just, from my Adam's apple down, was just a turtleneck of blood. And my favorite part of this was I found out later that one of the crew guys went backstage to tell her and said to tell her, Penn has just cut his throat on stage and he's bleeding badly. And Teller said, okay, well, that's another 10 minutes. And went down to the green room to get snacks. And sure enough, my 12-minute monologue that night went 22 minutes. Because there was a lot to deal with. And the rest of the show, I had, the top of my collar was all red as I soaked in. And it was not in any way life-threatening.
No.
It was
But it looked gruesome.
really gruesome. And the audience was very perplexed because you wouldn't be able to do that every night, and yet it didn't seem like a special effect. And yet, what was he doing?
Yeah.
They were mostly perplexed.
My worst bleeding accident, I used to do a joke in the show where I did an impersonation of King Kong juggling. And I have this gorilla head that I put on, and I have a bolt through the top and a string with an airplane on it. And so I could throw the airplane, and by swirling my head around, the airplane would fly around me, and then I would juggle Barbie dolls.
Yeah.
It was King Kong juggling.
That's a great bit.
I'm doing that one night, and I take the hat off at the end of the bit, as always, and the airplane swings around and smacks me right in the middle of the forehead. And it's a head wound, so it just blood runs down my face for the rest of the show.
All that sounds like a keeper to me.
Yeah, yeah.
You keep being brought onto these different blanks got talents, other countries got talents.
Yeah.
That seems like a fine bit. You having to listen to judges that speak a language you can't understand
While bleeding?
through your face is, I think, probably the best thing you could possibly do.
I'll work on it. But it was a great week in Santa Cruz.
Oh, nice.
A bunch of Congregationalists came by to say hi and did a lot of shows out in the sun.
Really?
Yeah. A little bit of sunburn on my nose still.
Good crowds?
Good crowds, really fun. Busy week at the beach and boardwalk in Santa Cruz.
Well, it was great weather, yeah?
Beautiful. You stand on this pier and you go, I'm doing shows right here, and the wind is blowing in off the ocean, and it's 72 degrees, and I'm,
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's
it's
nice.
beautiful set.
And no fire to do a backflip over?
No fire to do a backflip. They'll let you do fire there, oddly enough. I don't. I juggle knives, but
They let you?
they would let you do fire there. That's one of the few spots on Earth still where you can juggle torches if you wanted to.
Do you miss street stuff?
What's that?
Do you miss doing street stuff?
I think about now and again.
When you hear him doing like perfect weather and just out there in the breeze, do you like that?
I do love the idea of gathering a crowd and people who didn't know they were going to see
It
the
is
show, see the
great.
show.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's a nice feeling.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about Vegas, though. When we play, we just finished playing. Man, it was a good crowd. Kansas City. We played Kansas City, and there's no complaint here. They're both great. They're just very different. We go to Kansas City. That show's been sold out for a month.
Yeah.
And the people up front really bought their tickets a long time ago.
Yeah, they're not coming from the buffet and then on the way to see
Something else.
Yeah, it's a big night out. You're dressed up and you're going to a show and you're
Whereas
going to dinner with
Vegas,
your wife. And
you might have decided, even a sold-out night.
Yeah.
Last night we were filled up, but some of those people in pretty good seats decided to see the show 20 hours ago.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's a different sensibility. But you know they're pretty jacked up. But I remember, and I've said this before too. But it's I'm not one to quote the police.
Yeah.
You know, but Sting or Stink, I guess his name is, was asked about their first tour of the USA, where they were in a van and they were an opening act, and he said, you know, we had a secret. We knew something no one else knew. We knew we were good.
Right.
And I remember after we played off Broadway, we had a great deal of success over here. We'd done Letterman, we'd done Saturday Night Live, we were doing very well. We got hired to do a show called The Unpleasant World of Penn and Teller over in England. And I remember going out, and they had a live studio audience. And we were going out to check props. And we walked on the stage to check props. They didn't even know it was us.
Right.
We were just two guys walking out, and they didn't know what show they were going to see. And we were going to do, I think we were doing, back then was very early in doing the cups and balls with clear plastic cups. And I remember being out there before we were going to start, and then, you know, counting it down with this audience and going, they're going to like this, and they don't even know it yet.
That's the joy of street shows.
Oh man.
That is the joy of street shows, because you can see people. When I walk out, I'm going to start a show here in about a minute. If you guys want to stay and watch the show, it's going to be great. You're going to have a good time. And they, you know, they kind of like, okay, I guess I'll turn around and face the stage at least.
Yeah.
And then there's a moment in it where they go, this is okay. This is going to be this is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just such a joy to see that moment on their face, because, you know, so often you're in a show like that and it's not good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We all know that feeling.
Yeah, 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 and there's just the fun of having a moment where you realize, okay, the moment just happened where they realize this is a good show and they're going to have a good time.
Well, you have
It's really fun.
you have two paint buckets and a kazoo. I
Yeah,
I have my
guess I'll watch this.
I have my application into the Fringe Fest because Piff's playing the Fringe, and you know, I've when I've toured with him, I help. There's things that I assist
sure,
with.
of course.
So I put in my application to street perform because he doesn't need to he doesn't need an opener. But since I know how the show works, if I can street perform during the day and then do a show at night. And I'm hoping I'm just waiting to hear from the application. But I've always wanted to street perform and I never have.
You don't have a street show.
No,
It's hard.
I know. That part I understand. I'm still in my rugged challenge me phase of
life.
Of life. Not life.
This will go into the
Not life. I really don't appreciate the life challenges I'm facing right now.
Not as fun as they looked on paper.
No. And magic is what I'm talking
say,
about.
sure,
And magic.
of course.
Yeah. No. If life could stop challenging me, I'd really appreciate it. I'm 40.
And then you'd be very, very
Two
willing
kids.
to be challenged more magically
Yes.
and less in life.
100%. I'll take the most difficult audience members. I can really just afford my kids' schooling. That would be great.
Yep.
Okay. I understand that.
Yeah.
So I want to correct something you said. I never met Coco the Gorilla,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you met Coco the Gorilla.
but I was hosting Alex Bennett's radio show
Yeah, of course.
in
Alex,
San
great comic.
Francisco.
Yeah.
And he had the morning radio show.
Yeah.
He was Stern for San Francisco. And he took a week or two off, and I hosted the show every morning. That's when there was all sorts of trouble with that week, that 2 weeks. A lot of troubles. First, I had Marianne Faithfull on. And told her she could smoke. Whew. Oh, boy. Telling someone they can smoke when you're in charge of the show in San Francisco at that time. I thought that when any sort of anti-smoking legislation went through, it would not include Marianne Faithfull and Keith Richards, right?
Right. Yeah.
We wouldn't, would it? Or maybe Tom Waits, They would come on and smoke. So Marianne Faithfull said, "Can I smoke?" And I said, "Sure." Oh, man. And being on the most
You
popular-
probably didn't know that secondhand smoke through radio waves is really bad.
Well, he also had a live studio audience.
Oh.
Mary Ann Faithful just lit up. And, of course, when she had a perfect defense, right? You told me, I asked.
Permission, yes.
She had permission. And I did not have a defense
Yeah.
whatsoever. And that's also, I stripped naked during that. There was some bad, I got a lot of trouble that week. I also said,
How many times have you hosted
Was that the week with the guy with the collar, the black Dickie? Was that that week?
No, it was a
No, okay. Just another bad experience.
But this was the week where I opened the dictionary at random when a comic was on. And we chose words to symbolize other words.
Okay.
So I would say, I want you to do your act just like you do it in your show, but the what we'll call the F word is now boxcar. And what we'll call the C word is now, so we had up a big whiteboard that was covered with obscenities and then equal signs and then other words that I'd open to the dictionary at random, which I thought was really, really, really funny. And I had comics like Bobcat on
Yeah.
doing filthy blue material, using
Right.
those words to fill in.
Yeah.
They didn't like that either.
Really? that seems really
great.
funny.
I thought it was.
That's a good premise.
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And during that time, someone came in who'd met Coco the gorilla and talked about how Coco's using language. And although my position on this may have changed somewhat,
Yeah.
okay, my position then was very, very, very skeptical.
Yeah.
I thought there was a different kind of. Now, since then, I met Alex the parrot, and I've seen animals maybe communicating this way. What I'm saying is, I'm not dogmatic about it anymore. I simply don't know.
Yeah.
But at that time, on that radio show, in that moment,
Yeah.
I was very skeptical of Coco the gorilla. Now, Coco the gorilla, very lovable. Coco the gorilla, very beautiful. Coco the gorilla, very, very strong. Me and my morning show taking swipes at Coco the gorilla, probably not my best move.
Not your
As a
finest
matter of
moment.
fact, I would do a show every morning for 4 hours and then go directly, essentially, to the principal's office, where the program director would then reprimand me for everything I'd done in that 4-hour show.
Well, also because you're the guest host, right? Like you're not like if you'd been hired to do Penn Jillette's radio show going forward, I think you'd have to take the big swings that you're taking in order to kind of like get you going and get you on the map. But as a substitute host, I imagine you're just supposed to just do pretty good radio and get through the week, right? Like
Alex left you a playlist.
Yeah.
Run these songs.
Yeah, the listeners are happy. They didn't go like, I hate when Alex goes on vacation. That's the bar.
Yeah. That makes so much sense when you say it.
Once again, pre-Glenn, right?
But sitting there at the microphone, it didn't feel that way. As
No.
I'm telling you. Yeah. So it was.
And there's two people who shared a writer's room with you. We're thrilled at this boxcar, this code word thing. I mean, we love this
really
idea.
good.
It's a home run.
We're going with this.
It was really fun.
Yeah.
It was really, really fun. But the listeners found it very easy to decode.
Well, was that the challenge?
And therefore, we were kind of doing very blue material on a
Morning radio show.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. So then, after we did the show about Coco,
Yeah.
and by the way, everybody was against me on the show. I had a newswoman, Lori,
Yeah.
who was kind of the sidekick. She did not go on vacation. She was there.
Ah.
So she was there trying to pull the show in line. So she knew
That
that
was a bad week for her as well, wasn't it?
if you were trashing Coco,
Yeah.
that was not going to play well in San Francisco. So we got a very, very, very angry letter from
Coco.
Yeah, that's
well, that was the whole point.
yeah, that.
Oh no.
I read the letter
Yeah.
on the air, which was scathing
I
and attacked me.
just want to say that Godot knew.
I actually recognized that one.
Recognize it. And I actually physically pulled out like a pilot hitting the ejector seat. You pulled off your microphone.
I did.
And I hopped right in to fulfill, and I Godot'd the story. I really feel.
So I
a
read
horrible
the
person.
whole story. And then at the end, I said, "There's only one thing you need to know about this letter. It's not signed by Coco. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Not signed by Coco.
Yeah.
This same letter." Signed by Coco changes my position 100%. Not signed by Coco. And then, of course, it was, but signed by people very close. No, not signed.
Did this haunt you for a time?
There were people who were reprimanding me for not supporting Coco wholeheartedly.
But like past that week,
Yeah.
like regularly, if there's a lot of did Coco defenders continue?
Hey, Coco can really talk.
So I'm just trying to get ice cream with my kid.
Had to drive. Yeah, with the windows rolled up from then on for a year.
I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
Everything's up in the air. But Coco's now dead, so maybe this nightmare will stop. So you are going. Speaking of challenging yourself in your career,
Right.
you are going to be filling in for Mac King.
Yes.
And what days are those?
Just one day, Saturday, July 7th.
Saturday, July 7th.
Yeah.
2 shows.
2 shows, 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock.
1 o'clock and I was going to say noon and 2, but 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. There will be Hillbill,
Yes.
the mind noodler,
Yes.
in the Mac King room.
Yes.
Do you know how many great magicians have filled in for Mac King?
I'm generally aware.
Like David Williamson, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're really the
Big
best.
names.
His manager read a list to me.
That's nice of Bill. Bill to do that. Yeah.
I mean, really good.
Bill let me know who else has been doing it. Yeah.
Really, really good. Rob Zabecki.
Zabecki.
Yeah. Zabrecki. Yep.
Zabecki.
Derek Hughes.
Derek
been
Hughes.
doing it.
Yeah.
Derek's really good.
They're really
Yes, he is.
really good. I
Yeah.
mean, these are great magicians.
I
Great magicians.
yeah.
Great magicians.
I will tell
Do
you.
you know how well they do in that room?
Uh,
So. They don't do great. You know why? That's a really hard room.
yes.
Really
Also,
hard
you know what
room,
the sign
really hard
says?
audience.
What does it say?
Matt King.
You know,
Don't want that to be hard on you.
you know
but-
one of the many people you aren't? Matt King.
Yes. Not only that, but there's
Maybe
been
Mac will leave you a playlist.
there's been a certain
Like,
amount of
He'll tell you,
Don't
this
talk
is what we
about
do on our
Coco.
show. Don't talk about Coco. Don't let Marianne Faithful smoke. Don't take your clothes off.
yeah. I think there's been a certain amount of magicians kind of keeping me at like an arm's distance. Like, all right, you're trying this. That now will officially, I think, hate me that I'm doing this. I think, but
Who are you expecting to hate you first?
there's several names come to mind. The guy who helps me do magic hated me right away.
Teller?
No, R.J. Owens, who's been doing magic forever. But he's in a Cirque show, so he directs me, and I practice. I rehearse for him all the time. And as soon as I told him, he was like, "Fuck you! I hate you so much."
Well, thing is that everybody thinks
Yeah,
that is a plum job to get,
right.
and it really is not.
I understand that.
I mean, the room's very, very wide.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard to relate to people.
Yep.
The size of the show is very, you want to feel intimate because it's the afternoon.
Yeah.
The room is not intimate.
Right.
You're playing in a gymnasium, but trying to do a gentle show. Hard combination. I'm just telling you, you may go down in flames. I'm saying that maybe
Don't let that scare you.
to put everything right together,
Yeah.
I have a suggestion for an opening if you want to hear it.
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure they'll let you do this, but I think it
Run.
would be a good thing to try. If we're able to use fire in our theater.
Yeah.
I think you could maybe have a campfire in the middle of the stage,
Yeah.
and then do a backflip over the campfire. Might work really well.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple of advantages I have going for me.
Okay, let's hear them.
Geography. I'm a local hire. I'm very close to the theater.
So you can get home.
I can just get in and get out, and then I don't have to worry.
You don't have to give you a hotel room.
I'm not stuck in the hotel room hating myself after it. I can just go.
You won't be crying.
Yeah.
The kids are at home,
I'm used to being unknown and feeling slight disappointment when I come on stage. That's the absolute truth. You know, when I open for Piff, they don't say Piff in his opener when they get in the tickets and stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
I come out on stage and people go like, "Why aren't I looking at a magic dragon?" And that's the first thing I kind of lean on as I go into my routine. So I'm used to that. The amount of terrible environments that I have done comedy in is enormous. Magic is new to me, but the amount of absolutely god-awful rooms that I have played where people could give a shit that my mouth was moving at all is a significant amount.
Yep.
So while I will probably identify the discomfort that you're describing, it will not feel foreign to me or something that I haven't handled before. So I'm not worried about that aspect of it.
How long you doing?
An hour.
An hour.
That's the part that I'm still figuring out.
And it's only you.
Well, no. I'm actually going to, out of my own pay Paul to come in.
Oh, that'll be helpful.
Exactly. Because if you've known the show, Paul
he gonna
dresses up
sit
like
in
a
a
giant chicken, and then we're going to do the objects in people's purses
Psychic.
and wallets
Oh, good.
with a blindfolded giant chicken on stage.
Good.
So that's nice. That's I'm leaning on that heavily. RJ's going over another fun visual trick with a dart gun bullet catch kind of thing, and he's teaching me that tomorrow, and I'll be practicing that a ton, and adding that to 4 of the things that I have. So
What would you say is the worst room you've played?
there's no shortage of times I've been invited to be one of several things happening in a ballroom where it's a giant room of round tables where half the audience is literally facing away from you.
Convention center stuff.
Convention centers, conventions. The amount of times I've been brought in to be funny in the middle of conventions where I've gone on after like a story of like an orphanage fire, and then like, all right, now to liven it up before the speaker, here's an improv team, right? Like, and then we're not mic'd, but we're stuck behind a podium that has a mic, and like we still try to do games, and then no one pays attention to us, and we feel like we're doing it for ourselves. I've done that a lot. That's not one time. I'm not describing one gig. So those things have happened a lot. You know, even like, you know, a lot of comics and stuff say that they don't want to do any kind of convention or any kind of like, you know, festival or something like that because they only want to be in a room if you were there to see them specifically. And when you're not, they just, between offending people or them being disinterested or being able to walk out, just makes them just not want to play those kinds of gigs. And those are the only things I book. So I'm used to those things. Yeah.
July 7th
Yeah.
at the Mac King Theater.
Yeah.
Is it called the Mac King Theater?
I think so.
Yeah.
At the Flamingo. Is it Flamingo? No.
No, Harris.
Harris.
Piff's at the Flamingo.
At Harris.
Max at Harris.
At Harris.
Yeah.
Take that again so I could just cut it.
Okay. July 7th.
Yep.
At the Harrah's, the Mac King Theater, right up the escalator there. A 1 o'clock show and a 3 o'clock show. You can go see Hillbill do a full hour with Paul Mattingly. You'll get a lot of Scoop people. And
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that'll soften the blow of the room. if I get a few folks to come out just one day.
tell them to gather up front.
Yeah.
Close and
But yeah, so it'll be interesting. And then when I did Pork Fest, I thought it was an evening time, but they actually put me late afternoon, so I actually had a chance to try an hour out of doing, you know, family friendly stuff.
And
so,
they do well?
Yeah. It just went fast. That was the other thing, is that when you're in a room without intimacy, and you don't get that pushback attention when you're you know, writing a joke or writing a bit with an audience member, you just zip through it. And so that was the big takeaway for me, and what I'm most worried
Your
about
hour
going
was
into.
50 minutes or something?
Yeah. It was 45, and so I was like, oh, I need to either add 2 more tricks or
You need an hour and 10 so you can cut.
that's
is
it.
what has to happen.
Yeah, and so it was like I'm so happy that I had that run, because now it's like, oh, now I'm going to add 2 or 3 things to the list and then figure it out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, best of luck to you. I think it'll be
That'll be great.
I'm trying to figure out if I can get there.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I know it's going to be challenging. I'm not excited about it because I think I'm going to be like roared and taken off on people's shoulders.
But I'm going to be. I'm doing Wendy Williams
Okay.
on Thursday.
You're doing your hair. I get it, Penn.
July,
That's okay. That's
July 4th, I think that is, or
Yeah,
July
yeah.
5th, whatever
Yeah,
that is.
July 4th. I'm in Santa Cruz.
So I
Santa
think I
Cruz.
come back July 5th.
okay.
And I believe I am no family.
Uh-huh.
And I'm doing, just shows Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And then I go into the big fast.
Yeah.
So
He'll be eating instead of doing your show.
Exactly.
I could
Having a last sandwich.
Just eating an entire watermelon.
I could stop by.
Yeah.
I could stop by maybe and see the show.
Yeah.
I would cheer. I would cheer.
I was just actually going to say the only time you've seen me, it was my absolute worst. So I'm actually fine with
You could
coming.
actually move up a little bit.
I believe even no matter what kind of show I'm going to do, it's not going to go as badly as the first one you saw. I think.
Right.
So I
It's
think
too
that's
bad
good.
it's that week, because a week later he's unemployed. You could have him as an opener.
I could probably come in and do 10 minutes with you.
Yeah.
You can, that'd be great. That's what you want.
Okay, let's talk about toothbrushing.
Yes.
And this I'm really interested in because during my fast,
Yeah.
I cannot use toothpaste.
Right.
But yet the oral hygiene is very, very important. And something, you may not know this, but toothpaste is wicked overrated. Toothpaste does not matter very much.
Right.
It's the brushing
I've asked
itself
my
that matters.
dentist that exact question. Which is it? Is it the chemicals or the action? It is the action.
It's
the
all the
physical.
action.
Really?
The
It's all the
but the
it's all the
action
friction,
should be
yeah.
exactly right. And there's this new thing called quip. The truth is, most of us are brushing our teeth wrong, not for long enough, or forget to change our brush on time.
That is me.
Yeah. That's because most brands focus on selling flashy gimmicks rather than better brushing. But not Quip.
Nope.
What makes Quip so
So quick.
For starters, Quip is an electric toothbrush. I love a toothbrush. It's a fraction of the cost of bulkier brushes while still packing just the right amount of vibrations to help you clean your teeth. Quip's built-in timer helps you clean for the dentist recommended 2 minutes with guiding pulses that remind you when to switch sides. Do you use electric toothbrush?
I do.
Me too. How about you, Guido?
No, I don't.
How about
I'm
you?
about to.
Yep.
I love them. I love them. Next, Quip's subscription plans are for your health, not just convenience. They deliver new brush heads on a dentist recommended schedule every 3 months for just $5, including the shipping.
That is
Free
awesome.
shipping.
Worldwide. Free shipping worldwide.
Also, Quip comes with a mount that suctions right to your mirror and unsticks to use as a cover for hygienic travel wherever you take your teeth.
Wow.
And I have a toothbrush on the road.
Yep.
I have a toothbrush backstage, and I have a toothbrush in my home. So I will do 3 Quips.
And that's
We are, yeah. We actually have them at the office. We haven't opened them yet. We're going to get them this week.
And I'm excited about the 3-month thing because I know that's the way you're supposed to do it. I never know when I have last replaced my brush.
Sure.
I just have no idea when 3 months have passed.
Right.
I try to do it Ramadan, Christmas.
Yeah.
I try to make it universal. Every 3 months there's a major holiday.
Yeah.
So on Arbor Day, I'll
You're
change.
just swapping them out.
And finally, everyone loves Quip. They're on Oprah's O list. Is this our only overlap with Oprah? Name one of Time's best inventions, our overlap with Time.
Yeah.
And is the first subscription electric toothbrush accepted by the American Dental. That seems huge.
That
American
does seem
Dental
huge.
Association. Yeah. Quip starts at just $25. If you go to getquip.com/
Penn.
right now, you'll get your first refill pack free with a Quip electric toothbrush. That's your first refill pack free at getquip.com/
Penn.
GETQUIP.com/
Penn.
GETQUIP.com/
Penn.
Very nice, very nice. I'm excited about
I
this.
know. I'm looking forward to it.
I like having good sponsors. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
What else haven't we covered? There's something I'm interested in. And can you sit, Matt Donnelly?
In general?
Can you sit?
Like,
If you had a time
yeah.
where you had no phone,
Yeah.
no pool, no pets, and got no cigarettes, just 2 hours of push and broom, you're going to sit, okay? Can't use your phone, no headphones, no one to talk to. Sit. How long can you do that happily?
Not long. Not very long at all.
I
Give
think
me a number.
20 minutes?
I think that's a deep, deep flaw. Deep flaw. Can you do that?
not really. I'm very, very quick to fall asleep.
What's your time?
It's probably 20 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I do that now because I have a show and then a 2-hour break and then a show. So I spend a lot of time sitting. But
You read.
there are people walking around and stuff.
You read?
A little bit. I read sometimes, but a lot of times.
Headphones?
Nope.
Check the phone?
Sometimes I check the phone, yeah.
Ready, Rich?
If my mind is not active for 10 minutes, I'm out.
Sleep.
Yeah.
Jera?
Can I pace?
Can you sit? Sit.
Not long.
Not long. We played in. I had this girlfriend, really, really smart, wicked smart, wonderful, wonderful woman. She's still a friend of ours. We still work together on projects. I love her. I won't say her name because of this, although I think I said it in one of my books. I had to run in to my hotel room, right? And I had to do about an hour of work. We were going to go out to dinner, but it was this awkward time. She was traveling with me. We got into the hotel room, and I had to take an hour. I just had to take an hour. I just had work that I had to do.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I got to take this hour. If you need, I got a book there you can read. You can also put on the TV. It won't bother me while I'm working. Or you can go down and get a cup of coffee, do whatever you want. And she said, I'll just sit. And she sat on the couch for an hour while I worked. I kept glancing over at her. She was sitting. She had her hands folded in her lap. Not really a big smile on her face, but a contented
Yeah.
expression. She sat for an hour happily. And I said, this is a better person than me.
Yeah.
When I visited her apartment, she had no stereo, no computer, no radio, no TV, nothing. She had a couch and a beautiful, beautiful painting. And she would come home from work. At that time, she had a big production job. She was a big honcho. And she said, I like to come home and before I go to sleep, I sit for a couple, 3 hours on the couch and look at the painting. I said, do you play music? She said, no.
Wow.
I said, you read? She said, I read later, or I read before, but I don't read while I'm sitting here. I just sit here and think.
Because even Headspace is to force me to do that for 10 minutes.
And so I went, we were in Kansas City, and I'm not in charge of the theater. It was a wonderful theater, wonderful crew, beautiful, beautiful theater, the Kaufman Center in Kansas City. And boy, but not just perfect crew. Everything's perfect. And it's a beautiful new kind of civic center place with a nice theater, like 1,500 seats, nice size. And so there's a ton of dressing rooms backstage. And of course, the best dressing room goes to our crew, which is where they do all the magic props so they can get on and off stage quickly and comfortably, easy access. Then Teller had a dressing room and I had a dressing room. And for some reason, we don't know what this reason is. It's certainly not our writer, but something that the theater does. There was a guy in a chair sitting outside my dressing room and Teller's dressing room. Security. Okay? Sitting outside our dressing room. Hi, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Hello, Penn. I think, hello, Mr. Penn. Hi,
Yeah.
how you doing? And I went in my dressing room, met with Glenn, did some stuff in the afternoon, and came out. He's sitting there. And we went into catering to get my beans and rice before the show, have a little food, a little broccoli. And these two guys sitting about, far enough apart that you couldn't comfortably talk, could barely see each other. Everybody working, walking up and down the halls. And they sat there, as far as I could tell, for 3-4 hours. And they had no entertainment with them whatsoever. you know?
Yeah.
They had no books, no phones, nothing, just sitting there. And they sat there contentedly and, attentively. I mean,
Sure.
they weren't sleeping. They were, I don't know, they were outside our dressing room, so I assume they were security for us. But it wasn't like I said, "Why are you sitting here?" 'Cause I didn't want to look stupid. Too late for that. But just sitting there. And I thought, wow, that's really something, Now, I do this thing. I read that every week Schultz, who was under, was he Reagan or something? Schultz's guy, secretary or something.
Secretary Schultz.
He would,
Sergeant. So
he would do,
Charles Schultz.
I call it my Schultz hour. He would do an hour every week in his office where he would tell he was not to be disturbed, and he would sit with no communication whatsoever with anybody. He would sit for an hour and think. So I read that in the Times a year and 2 months ago, and I've been doing it every week. I sit for an hour. Now, he would have a pad that he could take little notes down if he thought of something. So I allow myself to open the computer, but I take it offline. I have one file opened, and I write down any emails I want to write or any ideas for bits. Now, I've been doing this for over a year, and I have written more bits, more ideas that I brought to tell than I ever have in my life. I run through my week. I run through stuff. I just think for a week without stuff. And even though I do compose emails that I'm going to send, I don't send them. Can get them back, no answer. And it has been huge to me to take an hour. I even do it on airplanes. Just cut down everything and just go and just sit and make notes. I wish I did it on a pad of paper instead of a computer.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be more organic, but I can't read my own writing. So I really can't write. I'd have to learn to write again. So I don't do that. And then I was down in Florida with Kramer, Kramer, the great musician of Bong Water and all that stuff. And we were out fishing.
As you do with Kramer.
With Kramer. And I said to Kramer that I do this thing. I was kind of bragging. I get 1 hour. And Kramer said, I do that 10 hours a day. That's what I'm doing when I'm fishing, by the way.
Yes, that's what fishing is.
He said, I stand here and I have no phone. I'm not reading. I don't ever listen to music. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm looking out over the bay and just thinking.
Yeah.
And it's a phenomenal thing. And I just feel like I am less of the person I should be for not being able to do this. I was so envious is not the right word. I was impressed by the fact that the security people could sit there. Whenever I see someone doing a job that involves sitting, security guards, something like that. Usually security guards, right? That's one of the big things. Are waiting for something.
The people that run the Keno counter.
Yeah.
It's entirely automated now. I have no idea what they do.
Yeah. I actually, when I was in New Hampshire, I went into town for a cup of coffee in the morning. And as I was leaving, I made a spontaneous decision. I went to get in my car and I go, it's beautiful out. I'm just going to walk. And I walked for an hour just around New Hampshire. I did my headphones and I wasn't on my phone. And I did take pictures. I took pictures on my phone of just beautiful things I saw. But I walked and I saw
upskirt
only. Yeah. I mean, there's one of me running where you can see me running and you can see a picture of my feet as I'm running away. No, I remember I just started walking around. I just started looking at these old houses and I was struck by them. And then I saw a train trestle and I walked towards there. And there's this old cemetery. I went in there and walked around. And then I actually, because
this is what I do.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is what I do. I can't sit still. But if I go and walk or I ended up or hike.
I ended up on the train track. I went up on the train tracks, up on the bridge, and walked down. And I was like, I bet if I walk down these tracks, I'll come to another road. I can walk down another road. And it was one of the nicest afternoons I've had in a really, really long time.
So healthy.
Yeah.
All these studies have said walks in nature are this hugely resetting thing.
Yeah.
And I don't do, which is one of the reasons, and I will explain this more and more. On July 10th, I will start my water only fast.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long I'll go. Could be 7 days. Could be 21 days. Could be
Yeah.
a fortnight and a half. 21 days is probably the most I would do. But I'm also, at Dr. Clapper's suggestion, I'm also going to do a fast from social media and from news.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I read a lot of news.
Right.
And I also follow my Twitter, and I follow my Facebook, and I answer all my own Twitters and stuff, and I do all of that. I think for at least the 3 weeks, probably the 5 weeks, I am going to cut myself off completely from stuff. And I'm going to try to use the change in my mind to be able to sit and think for long periods of time. And I'm going to try early in the fast to take some nice walks. I think some of the people that I care about the most, I'm going to try to get David Greenberger and Kramer different times, and Stephen Banks to come and sit with me while I'm here and have conversations and stuff. But I will still use my computer. I'm still going to write my journal every day. We don't know yet, I may be doing podcasts from there.
Right.
With you guys leading them. And but I'm going to try to see if I can get a hold of a little bit of that piece, because my personality and my need to accomplish stuff has gotten me a great deal of success in life. But I want to make sure I know what I'm paying for that. And I may take a little bit of time of peace and cutting off from those things. I want to thank somebody. What do I want to thank? I'll thank the guy. I'll find out who he is and I'll thank him. Ted Moody sent me a book I was looking for, Fasting and Exceptional Human Experience by Randy Fredericks. It does a little bit of religious fasting, but it also devotes space to psychological and physiological, philosophical aspects of fasting that this Ted Moody has read. And I asked Dr. Clapper about it. He hadn't heard of this book, but I'm going to check it out. We got a few things wrong last week, right?
Weird.
Sandy Denny's still alive?
Sandy Duncan.
Sandy Duncan.
Still alive and never had a glass eye.
Nope. Just can't see out of one.
I begged Glenn to find her and get her to call in. I always make this mistake, and I always know it's wrong. The second it's out of my lips, I know it's wrong. And my soul has been psychedelicized. Is the Chambers Brothers, not the Isley Brothers. The Isley Brothers are Twist and Shout. The Chambers Brothers are The Time Has Come Today. This is something I don't believe. Someone has written in that Santa Cruz and Santa Monica are two different places. No, they're not. They're the same place.
I've been
and we should make very clear that some of the email was sent out as Penn Gillette instead of as question pen. But it's always signed by Ready Rich. When you write to questionpenn@gmail.com, you are having a conversation with Ready Rich, who is a little bit outside the law. You might get answers outside of Ready Rich that are even weirder than insulting Coco, getting naked, telling Marianne Faithful to smoke, and calling fuck boxcar.
Yeah.
You might get weirder stuff than that.
You're engaging in an experiment when you write question pen.
You're engaging in it's kind of a Turing experiment.
How do y'all feel that experiment's going so far?
I cannot wait for that email every Sunday morning of your correspondence with people. This is my favorite thing.
I think it's going very, very well.
Yeah.
It's right on
Very,
target.
very well. But you know what I'm talking about that just sitting, don't you?
I do. I used to be better about that kind of a thing. And when I walked in, I hadn't felt more content in a very long time. And it was my show was later on that day, and it's my first time traveling with my big case and setting up all my prompts and writing my prompt list out. You know, like I did 3 new tricks in it. It was like all just like interesting stuff, and I was so edgy. And so I took that walk, and man, was I just fine. It was just really nice.
Now, Goodell, when you walk here, where do you walk? Do you walk in Red Rock?
Red Rock or Mount Charleston. Yeah,
A
both
place
are
to
great.
walk in Mount Charleston?
Yes, and it's a lot cooler. The altitude helps a lot.
But the walking is something different, right?
It is different.
Yeah.
It's different.
How do you feel about driving in the car? Because I found that when I shut off the music in the car.
Yeah, I was doing that
Then
for
it's
a while.
really, I can think and do things.
I was
and-
doing that for a while, then it fell away. I tried to do my riding to work every night with nothing, just to think.
Yeah.
It's just really great. What's really great, this happens every time, okay? I do my Schultz hour, and the first 15 minutes or so, I run through my time since the last Schultz hour. Every day I go through what I did and what happened, and usually take notes for Sunday school or something like that. And then I go into the future, look at what I'm going to be doing. Then I run through the show for any ideas for bits I have, and just let my mind go. And then it always, at like 45 minutes in, I start getting ideas for bits.
Right.
Some of them very, very bad. But turns out if you get 5 ideas for bits and one of them's okay, that's as good as one idea for a bit that's okay.
It turns out,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And it's really, I mean, it's amazing that we are talking about the wonder of doing nothing. But it's only been the past 3 or 4 years I've really been addressing that.
I think because I think we're absolutely coached out of experiencing leisure time. That and you're finding out more and more people like I have 5 part-time jobs. I don't have any full-time job, right? And so anytime I'm idle, if there's a voice in my head that says I'm making a mistake,
There's something to be done. There's always something.
and that I'm still so life challenged that if I am sitting down doing nothing, that I'm somehow not correctly doing anything for my life, that I should be doing something. And so with that, it's become absolutely, it's past that. Now I'm one step past that. So now what you're talking about is I sit down and I actually now get a feeling of a bad negative feeling for sitting down and doing nothing.
Well, I have been
before I even process.
I've been meditating now almost 1,000 days in a row,
Right.
and that's done a change. And I'm really hoping that this fast, both the physical changes of the no food and the psychological changes of no social media. I'm hoping when I go into this fast that in a certain sense I'll never come back. I hope that I come out a different person.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can hope for as many changes as I just blanked at his name. Who played Andy Kaufman? Jim
Carrie.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey becoming a guru after being a goofball was pretty amazing change.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so you have coming up. Let's say this again; it's important. July 7th,
Yeah.
1 and 3, you'll be doing the I was going to say Kill Bill, the Hillbill show
Hillbill. Yeah.
at Mac King's Theater
Yep.
at Harrah's.
Yeah.
Go check that. Any other gigs coming up with Piff?
No, I start touring with him again in September. He's pretty much here in Vegas, then he's going to England. So I start touring again with him September and November. And I'm doing Seattle, Dallas, and one other.
Yeah, this Tuesday, or I guess the way we're going to broadcast this yesterday.
Yeah.
I am going to L.A. with Piff during the day
Oh, nice.
to pitch the Piff TV show to CW.
Oh, very cool.
Good luck.
And
That'd
of
be great.
course, we didn't mention the most important thing, which is,
Yes.
of course, wrong because now it's Wednesday. But Monday is the opening show of
Fool us.
Fool Us.
Nice.
So it's got Piff and Pop on that show. So that should be a good thing.
You want to say it again and pretend it's Monday? And I'll just stick it in
Please
Sundays.
do. And Monday, today, which most people listen to the show on Monday.
Yeah.
Today, later tonight, on the CW, is the opening show of 2018's Fool Us. And the opening show is Piff and Pop doing a hunk on there. So please, Allison and Penn and Teller, everybody on the CW. What is it, 9 o'clock or something, I think? Bob?
I think it's 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Watch it.
Take a breath. Okay, it's Wednesday again.
Okay. And Godot, you got anything coming up?
Yeah, I'm in Santa Cruz Beach and Boardwalk on June 30th, and then again July 2nd through the 7th.
And how do they find you? How many shows you do there?
I'm doing a lot of shows there. I'm doing 3 or 4 shows a day. There are 2 stages on the pier, and they're basically between noon and 6. So I'll be there at some point during that time, on one end or the other, hanging out in the sun.
Good. Have a good time there.
It's fun. It's really fun.
And that was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha-cha-cha.
And to our listening ears,
You become naked.
all nature sang and round us rang the music of the spheres.
Hey, Matt Donnelly, who was Hillary Clinton's running mate? Just that last election. Who was the vice president candidate? You know? Who was it?
Mike, Christian guy.
Who was it?
Guy spoke Spanish.
Mike,
Who was it?
Tim something?
Who was it?
no, Mike something. I think
was
it was
it?
a Mike something.
This is what politics should be. We should not care this much about politics. We should not care. That's what's wrong with the country. Not who Trump is. We know too much about him. Too entertaining. You know what I want?
Yeah.
Tim Kaine.
Tim Kaine.
I love you.
Ah.
You didn't ask me.
Did you know?
It was Mr. Charlie Hodge, the man that brings me my scarves and my water.